Hi, welcome to John's Jeep Garage. This video is about changing your front left wheel speed sensor. It works on your right as well because the park goes on either one. Now when you hear left speed sensor or right wheel speed sensor, you look at it as the perspective of sitting in the driver's seat. So a left front wheel speed sensor would be your driver's side, and a right would be your passenger side. There's another video on our channel showing how to replace the rear, but the front is a little bit more complicated. The rear is just the component. The front has the electrical line and the sensor. You have to remove the caliper, brakes system, and rotor to actually access it. And just watch the video and you'll see what we do step by step. And we appreciate you watching. Thank you.
All right, so let's jack up the Jeep on the side that you're working on. Let's use a jack stand, chock the tires, and let's get that front tire off.
So you're looking for a part, you can go online, Amazon. I just ran over to O'Reilly's. I got the standard. This is a 2016 Jeep Wrangler JK 3.6 liter. And this is the ALS 1918 front sensor. Works on either side.
All right, we're going to have to remove this caliper, so I use a large C-clamp. I put it on the brake pad and the back end of the caliper. I compress it so that I push that piston in so it's easier to remove. Now I'm going to remove the caliper pin bolts. Those are 13 millimeter, but on the inside there's a 15 millimeter nut, so if that spins you may have to get a open box wrench to kind of hold that as well. All right, I'm just going to take these bolts and I put them on a tray on the side. Now I have the caliper and I want to slowly remove that, and I use a little caliper hook. Some people set it up on top. I just don't want it to drop because you got your brake line on there and then you also have your ABS line attached. You're trying to get these two 21 millimeter bolts. Some people, if you don't have one, use a 13/16. But to get this ABS cable out of the way, just remove it out of the top clip so you can just give yourself a little bit more operating room. All right, once everything is clear and out the way, you're going to have to use probably a cheater bar. This is torqued up to about 120 foot-pounds. So if they did it correctly, it's going to take a little bit of force to get those started. Okay, I removed the frame and the pads. I also removed the rotor, and this is as much as you need to remove to get to the sensor. All right, the sensor is located on the top of the wheel hub. Use a 5 millimeter Allen wrench. If you don't have that, try a 3/16. And it's not a high torque. When you put it on, it's just going to be a snug fit. I like to keep screws like this or bolts like this. Just your package or your new one is going to come with its own, but you never know when you may need something like that, so just my opinion. Okay, a word of advice: don't bend your dust shield. I know a lot of people like to do that. What I do is loosen up the cable from the speed sensor, from the clips, and then I just ensure I have loose wire to be able to maneuver back and forth. The second thing I do is I kind of rotate it in position to get it out of the hole first. Once I get it out of the hole, I pretty much turn it backwards where the loop is on the opposite end, and it'll fit right through there, as you can see, and now it's out. All right, next I have a zip tie here. I just need to cut and remove. But I just take that cable and I follow it all the way around, and it's got these little rubber sections that are fastened into these clips. You just pull out. You can kind of see, and you got to remember where everything is because you're going to put the new one back in the same way, but it's just a little pressure clip. And then you want to be able to hold the entire wire there. Now it's going to wrap around the back end of that piston, shock. I'm going to show you a close-up, but I have to remove, to be able to see it, I have to remove my inner fender. And I suggest, depending on you, what you're set up, maybe you can bend your OEM one, but this is much easier to access the back. And as you can see, right behind that shock wall, there is a little clip that I'm going to use my retainer removal clip just to pop it off, and that's actually where the connector is located. Some people work it blind, where they're trying to, once you understand how the clip works, they're doing it without even looking at it. I actually take this connection and I wrap it around the other side, and you'll see how much easier it is to access it from the other side. So here it is. It's got that red locking tab and then a little pressure point, which I'll show you right here, that if you press, when you open up the tab, you press there and then you pull apart and the connection comes out very easily. You know, I realize red locking tabs and connections are a pain, but on this one it was easy. All right, so I get the new one out, I stretch it out, get the connection end, and I wrap it around the shock tower. Actually, you can just drop it over the top because there's nothing binding in the way. And it's very easy that I went ahead and removed it from the back of the shock tower because it's easy to connect everything back up. Like I said, some people do it blind where they're doing it with feel, but I wanted you to see it for this video. So I'll get it connected, I'll push in the red locking tab, and then that section does have those two retaining clips, which are like the Christmas tree sides that I go back and I push into that shock tower so it just stays there. And now I'm just going to work everything back onto those clips as I stretch it out. It is important you wrap it around the correct way when you removed it, making sure though you have it on each one of those clips, because that kind of acts as a guide for you. So you have this clip there, that clip on the angle where the brake hose is, the one on the back right there, and then as you come forward you'll see each one, and I'm going to work my way. Now I put these on here, but I'm going to have to remove them as I start to put everything back together just for working space. All right, I pull it through, and then I get myself some dielectric grease, very light coating around that O-ring and on the sensor itself. Though I put it on right here, I kind of wipe the tip off with the paper towel, but I do have that light coating of dielectric grease on there. And I would not recommend using any other grease. I do know some people use silicone. My whole goal is to help that seal become watertight. And then I just take the 5mm Allen wrench, just a snug little fit, and make sure it's secure. So I go ahead and put everything back on, but I clean up those little guides that are for your brake pads. I even add some caliper grease, but this is a time to service your brakes if you need to as well. Just remember, you got to do both sides. Now I'm going to put the rotor back on. I take a lug nut and put it on one of the posts just so I can hold the rotor in place. Alright, so I'm going to reinstall the caliper bracket. Remember, you got your 21mm bolts, or as I said, the 13/16. Now the torque on this is up to 120 foot-pounds, anywhere between 100 and 120 foot-pounds. Alright, and now I go ahead and put the brake pads back on. Remember, you're going to have to put the caliper back on as well, so I just get the brake pads tight up against the rotor, and then the way I do it, I just take the caliper itself and come with the piston side out, and I angle that side down first and just put it over both set of pads. Now remember, I already depressed the piston, but if you need to do it again, go ahead and do so. And if you're changing the brakes, then you got to do that whole routine as well. All right, for these caliper bolts or caliper pin bolts, they go to a torque of 26 foot-pounds. As I told you before, there's that another nut there that can actually rotate that you need to. It's 15 millimeters, so use an open box wrench, or I'm using needle nose vice grips, just to go ahead and maintain that 26 foot-pounds that I'm looking at. I recheck all the cables and the clip connections. I want to make sure I've double checked that so it's free and clear for operation. For me, this is inner fender. I'm reinstalling yours. As I said, if it's the OEM, you may have just bent it up to access it, but if you took it off, go ahead and reinstall it. All right, so now we're going to put our tire back on, remove our jacks and our jack stands, and then torque everything to a targeted 100 foot-pounds. Go ahead and remove your wheel chocks.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. Here's the old one. We replaced it with a standard. We bought it at O'Reilly's. You can go on Amazon, like we said, or other places and pick out the speed sensor you want. If it's a different issue and it's not your sensor, this video, again, was supposed to just show you how to replace the front wheel sensor. Thank you for watching.